From the kitchen of the cabin, a look at the games that made us who we are in Ben and Steve's Advent Calendar.
All right, so it is December 22nd, and we just can't get enough of this Vinox market.
God, people are going to be thinking terrible things about us, Steve, every night in the Christmas market.
So I'm about to say a true statement. In the month of December, we visit a Christmas market every day.
Right.
Every day. Because that's what you do in Berlin.
That's what you do.
We're at another Christmas market.
The Germans are a very drink-friendly culture.
On an entirely different day.
Completely different day.
So it's a different... Well, actually, it's the same Christmas market because it's our favorite. Why go to a different one?
Why?
It's the best one.
If it ain't broke, Steve.
Yeah. So, Ben, I want to share with you something that kind of annoys me.
I'm really excited about this.
Yeah. So, my wife is an opera singer, as you know.
Yeah.
And she had an audition today in Osnabrück.
Osnabrück, yeah.
And she told me, I'm auditioning at the Opera House in Osnabrück.
Yeah.
And I was immediately excited because, as you and all the listeners know,
every one of the listeners,
Osnabrück is famous for being the site of the signing of the Treaty of Westphalia in 1648.
Exactly.
The origin of the modern international order, the nation-state, inviolable in its boundaries.
Who doesn't know that?
Able to choose its own religion. It was the end of the wars of religion. The Peace of Westphalia is celebrated today by the people of Osnabrück. And you know what? My wife...
And me.
She didn't know what I was talking about.
Unbelievable.
She didn't have a clue.
What do they teach those artists nowadays?
I mean, it was exactly like the time when I went to go visit a friend in London. Samantha came, and I asked her, like, where do you live in London?
Yeah.
And she said, oh, I just live off of Turnham Green.
Right.
And I'm like, Turnham Green? You mean one of the decisive battles in the English Civil War was fought outside of your flat?
Exactly.
Turning the royalists away from their attempt to occupy London.
Who doesn't know Turnham Green?
King Charles was forced to headquarter in Oxford.
Were you Turnham Red?
Never had a chance to take London
when they
after
denied
that.
it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. And I don't know if you recall, but we walked Hadrian's Wall. You will recall this.
Don't we recall walked Hadrian's Wall? Yeah, I do recall.
Well, toward the end of that hike, we passed the town of Newburn.
That's right.
Which was also the site of a very important battle.
Very important battle.
In the English Civil War.
Who didn't know that?
The thing is, something else occurred very close to Newburn that was critical not only in the history of your country, but it also in mine and the whole world, basically. The whole world changed because of events that occurred at the behest of the famous pioneer of locomotive engines, George Stephenson, outside of Newburn, UK, Britain, Earth.
Exactly.
What did George Stephenson invent? What do we call it colloquially, Ben?
What Stephenson did was he
set the stage for
about 150 years later inspired a very gifted German man to design a board game based upon his eponymous rocket. Do you think his wife called it Stephenson's rocket?
Who knew you could get so much mileage, so much historical, anecdotal mileage out of a small English town?
Do you think Stephenson was like to his wife, you got to call, what? He's from up north, he's from Newcastle.
Yeah, can you do the
fucking way I like. You got to call it my fucking rocket now, love. You know what I mean? Do you think he said that to her?
Very likely, knowing your country.
Yes, so...
God, like the density of inventiveness and historical tumescence per square mile. It's amazing.
I was looking actually on this when I knew we were going
Not to mention the arrogance.
Well, the day before you came back, the 20th, like...
That was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
Yeah, literally 2 days ago.
I looked up Hackensack, New Jersey.
Yep. What did you learn about Hackensack?
Just because I wanted to see if there was any notable people from Hackensack, New Jersey.
David Remnick, editor-in-chief of the New York Times.
Okay. Didn't know who he was.
I forget who else there was.
No one. No one.
I thought there was someone else.
I was rather gutted on
Scott Fitzgerald.
That's not what it said on Wikipedia.
F. Scott Fitzgerald apparently went to private school in Hackensack at some point.
So, I was rather annoyed looking at the Tenbury Wells notable people.
It's the county seat of Bergen County, and 100 years ago, up until 100 years ago, it was known as New Barbados Township.
Oh wow!
Because the founder originally, that was like from Barbados, but you know what I mean.
That sounds bad.
From in the British colonial sense.
New Barbados sounds better than Hackensack, New Jersey, isn't it? Would you prefer to live
think about it now.
Would you prefer to live in New Barbados?
New Barbados.
That sounds amazing, doesn't it?
I mean, I'd rather live in Old Barbados, if I'm honest. It's a bit warmer.
Sure. Anyway, so Stephenson's Rocket. So
you really go on and on about this game, and you know what? You're right to do so.
I interviewed the great man, Rainer Knizia, and I said to him, what's the deal with Stephenson's Rocket? Why is it so undervalued? And he said, I'm really proud of that one. I don't get it either.
I think it's really different for some reason it doesn't seem like a Rainer Knizia game, but why do I think that?
Well, I don't know actually, because I think Rainer Knizia is an old school Euro designer in that his Euro games are really quite attacking, quite confrontational.
Does he have other train games?
Not yet. I mean,
he probably has like 500. But
yeah,
can you
not
think
that I can think of.
Notable. This is like the quintessential. Well, okay, it's the Rainer Knizia train game.
Yeah.
But there's something like he's captured something about the train game and then added a Knizian twist to it.
So Knizia, right? I don't know whether this is conscious or whether this is just inbuilt in him. He's deeply, deeply cynical. And Stephenson's Rocket is not about the miracle of the Industrial Revolution. It is about grasping capitalists seeking to better themselves to the disadvantage of the other people around the table. It is such a wonderful game, yet it is such a mean, confrontational, brutal game. It is so out of odds with the current sort of idea of what a Euro game should be. And I think train games live in a different realm. I don't think they live in the Euro game realm. This isn't a Euro game. This is very much a train game. But it has the simplicity of Ticket to Ride, which I played the other night. For only the second time in my life, I played Ticket to Ride the other night. And
how did you end up playing Ticket to Ride?
Because I scheduled a meetup for Kraftwagen.
Whatever that is.
It's a Matthias Kramer game.
My friend, Matthias Kramer.
He'd be gutted to know.
Oh God,
you didn't know one of his games.
Matthias, I know you listen to this. I'm sorry. I'm really looking forward to our play of Weimar in Illyricon.
Famous German publisher and bon viveur, Uli Blennerman, said that it was one of his finest designs, Kraftwagen. I mean, he would say that Spielberg's published it, but nevertheless.
I'm particularly proud of that one too, now that you mention it. as a Spielberg's imprint. For the record, I'm no longer associated with the company for now. It doesn't mean that I don't follow it very closely and take a certain amount of pride and ownership in everything they publish.
So I met Uli for an ice hockey game, and you couldn't go because you had to go back to America. I saw a longing in Uli's eyes. I think he regretted firing you.
Something's missing
from the Spielberg's character.
Yeah, there was a certain ingredient that I added.
What did you give to the company, by the way?
Not much. Even I am mystified by what's missing.
Anyway,
even I don't know the secret sauce that is Steve.
So I arranged a meetup at Kraftwerk at Rudy, our local meetup, and no one signed up to it.
Did you say Kraftwerk?
Yeah.
Were you going to get together and listen to techno music?
I got my synths. I took my synths.
Trans-Europa Express.
Fun of the Autobahn. Anyway, so no one signed up.
The robots.
So I was thinking, do I try and blag people into playing Kraftwagen with me? Or do I just say, oh, fuck it, and join a game there? And there was a lad who's also called Ben, an English lad.
And he wanted to play Ticket to Ride.
And he had Ticket to Ride.
Of all games.
He had Ticket to Ride set up. But Ticket to Ride UK, which is a very good one. Anyway, so we played it and it was great.
It's a good game.
But, so, Stephenson's Rocket has the simplicity of Ticket to Ride.
Does it?
Yeah, sure.
It's so mean though, comparison.
But it is nothing.
It's much meaner.
Nothing but teeth. It is brutal. This is a game in which if you're of the dickhead persuasion,
Like you? No disrespect.
No, I'm a proud dickhead. You can fuck up people.
You actually kind of look like one right now with your
with my red helmet.
Your beautiful red knit hat. Where did you get that, by the way?
Some dickhead got it me for Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Because one knows another very well.
Well, exactly. Set a dickhead to catch a dickhead, isn't it?
Yeah, as is said.
Exactly. And yeah. So what I love about Stephenson's Rocket is it Knizian. So Knizia, what I think Knizia's real gift is as a game designer, you can talk about his economy of rules, you can talk about his little twists on established tropes. His real gift as a designer is that he has some preternatural insight into what motivates people.
Yeah.
And is able to translate that into game mechanics. That's why Knizia games make you feel brilliant, because you know that he's pulling levers in your brain and going, this is what you should do. And it's horrible, but it makes you feel great.
Yeah, and Reinhard Knizia does not specialize in game genres at all. He does everything. And he came along and he's like, okay, I'll do a train game. And he did this one.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, in a way, there's something like very... I don't know, I'm trying to compare him to Martin Wallace. Because it's like the same thing with Age of Steam.
Right.
Because like Martin Wallace is not like a train game designer per se. And neither is Reinhard Knizia, but like both of these games, like they blow so many other train games out of the water. And they're completely different at the same time.
I said this about another designer that is going to pop up later on in the Advent calendar. And I said this to someone on one of the 5G4D episodes. It applies to Knizia, and I think it applies to Martin. This is how pretentious I am, because I'm mates with Martin. It applies to Martin Wallace too.
Friend of ours.
Yeah, personal friend. We went out for pints with him. They somehow speak in game, right? They're like their native language isn't whatever language they speak. Game is their native language.
Yeah, they're not putting the cart before the horse.
No.
I want to do a train game, and then they try and contrive a train game.
It is as if they almost, this sounds hugely pretentious, but they are almost able to tap into kind of the platonic ideal of certain game ideas, right?
I think Age of Steam might be much more of that in this case, because it is definitely a train game.
Oh no, Age of Steam is best in class.
Yeah, like
it's not my favorite train game.
Like in a way, Stephenson's Rocket is like not even a train game. It's like a competitive network building game of some kind.
Right.
I think the like with many Knizia games, and you could like name a lot here, like Blue Lagoon, Through the Desert, whatever. Like the theme, the setting, whatever. It's beside the point. Tigris and Euphrates.
Right.
The theme is beside the point. It's just like a patina. I mean, I think the theme or
Knizia is the best.
The genre of game for Age of Steam is very much the point.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
yet, as you say, best in class. But I'm not trying to say Stephenson's Rocket is not a train game, because I think it still captures a lot of the essence of train games, which is like building routes competitively.
Well, no, the thing is, it's a complete...
You don't have, like, you have stock market, but you don't have to.
So Knizia's focus in Stephenson's Rocket is not building routes efficiently and cutting off other players. Knizia's focus in Stephenson's Rocket is how brutal the capitalism around the age of Steam was.
It's like getting there first.
Exactly.
And train games are all about this, like, well, I don't want to say what they're all about. There is like a certain first mover advantage. You get to the city first, you drop off the load first, you upgrade your train first, you invest in the company first, you unload the company first. It's like the greatest fool theory or whatever played out as a game.
Right.
And you don't want to be the greatest fool in a train game.
Knizia, so I asked Knizia this about modern art, because I wrote an essay about modern art calling it an incredible work of satire. And I asked Knizia whether, well, essentially I asked him, when I project this idea onto your game, am I talking out of my arse? And he kind of said yes, because I think Knizia is all about, and this is why I so admire him as a designer, he's all about making it the mechanically best game there is, right?
It doesn't make your interpretation illegitimate, though.
No, because I'm a Roland Barthes absolutist. And I think Stephenson's Rocket, in the way...
Is it slightly, like, ironic, not ironic, like, contradictory to be a Roland Barthes absolutist?
Right, absolutely. Yes, it is. 100%. So, the thing is, Stephenson's Rocket...
Only on this podcast.
Stephenson's Rocket tells us something about the nature of capitalism, in the way that 18xx games do, actually. And it is that it is read in tooth and claw, that the only interest in life is self-interest, and if you don't subscribe to that, you're an idiot. And I think Knizia, what I like so much about Knizia is that he just lays it out and then asks you to come to your own conclusion. Knizia is not didactic, and I think that's fascinating. And Stephenson's Rocket will lead you to an obvious conclusion, but Knizia hasn't led you there. The mechanics of the game has led you there. And if that doesn't make a board game a work of fucking art, I don't know what does.
Well, I think you could make this claim about a lot of games because they're inherently competitive, and capitalism is inherently competitive. But tell the listeners, despite all that, what makes Stephenson's Rocket so damn fun?
Well, the thing about Stephenson's Rocket, so for all of this arty-farty bullshit we've been talking, Stephenson's Rocket is super simple, and yet those mechanics link together so wonderfully that you come out of the end having that Concordia feel. All of those wonderful chemicals that flood the brain when you've done something that is worthwhile. And this is why board games make us feel so great, is because you come out of the end thinking, wow, that was not wasted time. I have a limited fucking time on this planet, and I will die one day. And you need days where you come out of it feeling that way. Stephenson's Rocket does it every time.
Also, hexagons.
Thank you for listening to this show and indulging our overweening nostalgia. If you would like to support the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/5G4D. And we both wish you a very Merry Christmas.